post the links out.
Hey, hungry? I'll take it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone, in. Hope you guys are all having a good day so far as people slowly start to flood in. As we're ready to talk some great old hockey, even though we're getting into the dead of the summer. So we only really got RFAs to talk about and just, looking at teams and brainstorm of what other teams could do, like the Edmonton Oilers, who are in kind of a not sticky situation. I mean, you got to worry about signing McLeod back on the team and trading somebody out, but we'll have to talk about that a little bit. But we got my man Pearlo Wisdom joining me today as well. How's it going, bro?
It's going good, buddy. I find still lots of things to talk about.
Yeah.
It's been a very interesting offseason for sure.
Oh, yeah. There's always stuff to talk about for sure, which we're going to be getting into. Some of the stuff that we're going to be getting into, which I seen Ryan Leslie. He had these he just tweeted with his eyes out, the eye emoji thing. So maybe the Flames will be making a move here in a bit. I'm not too sure. But you imagine so.
I think they're going to trade Huberdeau. Really do.
You're going to what?
Trade Huberdeau.
They're going to trade Huberdeau now?
I think so, because they can't go into the season with him out unsigned. I don't think. It's just going to be too difficult if they are in a playoff spot to trade him, and they can't lose him for nothing. Unless they trade his rights, and what do you get for that second round pick? Like, they got to get return for this guy. They cannot lose him. It'll set him so far back if they don't get any, if he doesn't sign before the season. And if I'm Huberdeau, I'm like, I don't even know how the team is. We just got here. I don't know if my family loves Calgary. You know what I mean? Like so. I think it's very possible that it could happen. The other thing I also did, though, could be from the opposite standpoint, is I think maybe they might be in on JT Miller somehow.
Them on JT Miller.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do need another big guy to really make that team competitive. I mean, they need, like, lots of people. But the thing is, what they could even do is they have so much flexibility with their defense right now. Like, I was talking with my buddy Calvin. Like, you have the possibility of trading Shillington away. You have the possibility of maybe even Valimaki or somebody else down at the defensive core because of the addition of Mackenzie Weegar. And welcome in, Lauren. Like, the Flames are a really interesting team because I think they're, like we said, they're not done with their offseason. I know they're still trying to figure out really what they want to do with this team. Even Cat Friendly's having Jacob Peltier up in the main. Could see him play this year. He had a pretty good year with the Stockton.
I think they're going to play really good.
I think they're probably going to play a lot of their younger guys without a doubt this upcoming season, with them not having a whole lot of cap space because they're only at 2.7 mil right now, coming into this upcoming off season or going into the season. So it's not like they have a whole lot of money to sign, and I think they were mainly just waiting to get Mangiapane and Shillington back on the team and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, they got Mangiapane signed up, which is nice, and it was a good deal.
That's a really good deal. 3 years. After 3 years, I mean, he's a UFA, so that's going to be pretty scary. I think if you know the guy, he only submits. Oh, he has a little no trade clause as well, 18 no trade list. So I mean, with Mangiapane, I think you kind of know if it comes down to the end of the contract and he doesn't want to re-sign. But he looks like he likes Calgary. He signed a pretty nice deal with the Flames when he probably could have asked for even more. That was probably the range that I was thinking Mangiapane was going to sign at, but Mangiapane's talents is like, it's way underrated. This guy is like worth like $8 million a year with how good he fucking plays. Like 35 goals last year. Just think of what he'll do this year.
And not even goals, like just overall play.
And look at who he's playing with. The man, like, for the past few years has been just amazing. And he's played with, not the greatest of line mates. So I give it to Mangiapane. He's just incredible play driver. And I think this is definitely a player the Flames should want to keep for a very, very, very long time. I think they will try to keep him throughout his entire career with how incredible he is.
Yeah, it was the 3 years. I guess he's gambling on himself, right? Like at that time, they're gonna if he puts up another 40 or whatever, he could get a much bigger pay raise after that.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what he's doing there. And Calgary, at this point, doesn't really have much leverage when they're dealing with players after losing Goudreau and, of course, Kachuk. And now they have like Huberdeau, who we don't even know if he's going to resign or not. But one thing I will say, I'm on the fence about that totally. I could see them getting assets for Huberdeau, but on the same note, I mean, Huberdeau's really got to look at it and say, is there any team that's going to give you as much as Calgary will?
Probably
I don't
not.
think, probably not, right?
I mean,
Uh,
there'll probably be
now,
some team that would end up paying him a decent bulk of money going into upcoming next year's free agency if you really think about it. Because like what you're gonna have Buffalo be pretty competitive probably next year. You still
if
got
he's
you
in the
still got
video,
the Islanders that probably would be maybe even looking for a guy like Huberdeau. Who else is there? Not Chicago, but Dallas. I mean, once they get Robertson, they won't have a whole lot of money left. Even the Red Wings have cap going to next year as well. I mean, they got to sign Larkin back and Bertuzzo, but if they don't want to bring back Ben Bertuzzo, they could go after a guy like Huberdeau. So there is some teams that could go after Huberdeau.
I would
But
like
the
to talk about
Flames.
two.
Oh yeah, we could definitely talk about that too. But I think Huberdeau, I think he'll definitely get a big paycheck with the Flames, just with how much flexibility they're gonna have next year cap wise, with Lucic being out of the team. They're gonna have a lot of cap flexibility to sign Huberdeau to a big deal and welcome in McCoy.
I would have to think that for him, I mean, it already got out that they were offering Goudreau 10.5, right?
Yeah, like they were giving
So
up a fuck ton to just sign back in Goudreau back into the team. So
now
I would guess they do that
they
same
could have
thing to
also been
him.
doing that knowing he was going to be out, and they wanted the optics to look good. That we did everything we could.
Yeah.
So they offered him 10.5, pretty much knowing he wasn't going to take it. But the fact of the matter is, Huberdeau knows they offered him 10.5.
Yeah.
And I think that's the number you're going to need to keep Huberdeau there. There's a couple other teams in my video that we did that I did. Buffalo was one of them, by the way. Nailed it. I think he actually nailed all of them. Like I didn't have Dallas, but New Jersey could
Yeah.
do it. Anaheim would have the cap
Yeah.
space to do it
Yeah.
if they wanted to go there. You know, there are some teams that would be able to do it.
And
But
honestly, dude, imagine the Ducks if they do that next year. Like if Huberdeau drops in, you almost 100% think Pat Verbeek would be all over it with Trevor Zegras already there. You had Huberdeau into the mix with Zegras and Troy Terry and Mason McTavish and the endless amounts of prospects there in Anaheim. Whew.
Huberdeau feeding to Terry,
Woo!
that would be great.
Jesus fucking Christ. Imagine that top line. That's insane.
I also had the same team that I thought Kachuk was going to go to, because I didn't know if his family moved to Florida before all this. But St. Louis, they got Tarasenko there where they're probably not going to re-sign him. They could give him and a package of players to try to get Huberdeau. And look at the players that he would be feeding there.
Oh, like next year they're having Ryan O'Reilly and Tarasenko come off the books, and you got to think that they most likely might not be bringing back both of those guys going into next year. You would think.
I don't know. You never know with St. Louis, right?
No, they could get Ryan O'Reilly to a stellar deal, but with Thomas and I guess Jordan Kyrou, but he doesn't really play center, I guess. But and Shen already there. You got Thomas and Shen that could play up the middle, but I think you definitely want to keep Ryan O'Reilly. I'm definitely not saying you should want to lose him because he's a stellar centerman. It's like you want to keep him, but if you have a chance to also bring in Huberdeau, I mean, I wouldn't want to lose Ryan O'Reilly any day of the week. But if you could try to bring in Huberdeau as well, that would be pretty goddamn good.
Feeding Kyrie.
Oh, feeding anybody on that team, Buchnevich, Robert Thomas, whoever, like that team would be killer.
Yeah, especially if they can get O'Reilly. I talked about that in the video where I don't know if you go more than 7.5 for O'Reilly at this stage of his
sign him to the exact same type of deal he's at already.
Yeah.
But you gotta be thinking, man, like I think Ryan O'Reilly would probably sign about the same again because he loves St. Louis. This was like the spot that revitalized his career. You won a cup with. Like he's looking like he's always loved the Blues since he's been there and still does to this day. So you probably see him sign at a pretty good deal. And he always has.
Yeah.
Like that $7.5 million deal that he signed with Buffalo wasn't bad at the time either.
Especially if they did manage to get a Huberdeau, I think it would be more advantageous for him to think, okay, maybe I want to stick around with
Yeah.
this. I mean, that guy's an offensive beast.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Incredible. Another thing, Kayla Yamamoto. We could talk about all the RFAs. Kayla Yamamoto signed a 2-year deal, $3.1 million, which puts the Oilers just above the cap with our LTIR. So, of course, we need to move out some space, but what do you think of the move? I like it. It's not bad. That's what I was thinking about Yamamoto being at. At least it's 2 years, but I wish it was a little longer. Like 1 or 2 years longer.
Yeah, I mean, at $3 million, you're not gonna. Yeah, at $3 million, I don't think you're gonna be able to do it long. You have to pay more and for every year that you wanna go up. And even Yamamoto is probably wanting to gamble on himself.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's what I said in my video.
Between the two, and they really didn't have any more money than that to spread it around, unless the whole rumors about Pugliarvi moving on happens, which I really hope doesn't.
I don't know. I think that's mostly media-driven shit, but who fucking knows, really?
I think so too. I felt more confident when Holland's son started saying stuff that he was saying.
Yeah, and not just that, like you would think that the Pugliarvi signing would be like an upfront like bonus type of deal too, not just a salary contract, because there's no bonuses on Pugliarvi's contract. And if you were thinking of immediately trading out the player, I was reading somebody saying that if you want to kind of do like a sign and trade, you sign him to a huge bonus, you pay majority of it, and then you dump him off to some other team. So it's a lot easier to trade him away, so the team doesn't have to pay him too much of that salary, just dealing with the AAV. So I'm thinking Fogel's like 100% gone, I feel. Either that or Tyson Barrie. I would love to see Tyson Barrie getting traded away, but it seems closer and closer every day where it feels like we're going to be keeping him coming towards this year.
Right defense, I've been doing these videos for trade videos and stuff like that. And man, I'll tell you, you know what? Barry isn't actually, as it turns out, all that bad of a right defenseman. That's how bad it is out there for right defensemen. So that's sad to say. But I mean, there are guys that they could look at, like Jake McCabe.
Yeah, Jan Honkenpaa as well. I mean, he's not terrible as well. You could do like a deal with the Dallas Stars to get Jan Honkenpaa, and that would save us money because Jan Honkenpaa is pretty cheap, and he would be a pretty sturdy back end defenseman for us in that top 6. Playing alongside of Broberg, that's exactly what I would like to do with Broberg, is play him alongside a solid defensive defenseman instead of playing alongside of fucking Tyson Barrie going into next year.
That's not ideal. It does look like he's going to stay there. You know how it is with Edmonton. It's not just finding a player; it's really having a conversation with their agent how long they would want to be in Edmonton. It's really hard to say. I got to say this though, with the Edmonton Oilers, this is the first year in a long time. I can honestly say I can give them the benefit of the doubt.
I haven't pulled out my hair yet this offseason, so I've been pretty happy with how this offseason's went.
Yeah, they've got rid of guys that they needed to get rid of.
Yeah.
Armstrong, Cassian, and maybe Barrie would look great, but Keith retires.
Yep.
It just feels like there's more room. I just feel like I'm not so closed in now.
No, I don't feel like
I breathe a
it's like
bit.
I'm not planning on getting angry at this fucking player all year long, like how I was with Duncan Keith last offseason. I was thinking, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to deal with so much shit with watching this guy and the fans that are like, Keith is good. What are you talking about, dude? Has Kadri signed anywhere lately? No, not yet. He was rumored to be going. My webcam's of course not focusing on me. To the Islanders. I think I was hearing a while back, but they need to clear out some cap space. So, what do you think? Where do you think Kadri's going to sign?
Well, I heard an interesting thing there where the Islanders are looking to move Pajot.
That's not a bad idea because, I mean, he was overpaid, so.
Yeah, maybe Mayfield Pajot or something like that. Somewhere to make some space for Kadri. I guess it's okay. I mean, really, if you do that and you bring Kadri in, is this team, I mean, is this team really still a fun team?
So yeah, the thing is with trading away Peugeot and picking up Kadri, it really doesn't make any sense because with Peugeot you still have a solid guy who plays pretty well defensively. Not great, it doesn't generate a whole lot of offense, but plays pretty well defensively. With Kadri, you're just getting a pure offensive guy who doesn't play very well defensively. So are you really actually improving the team? And you're most likely going to have to pay Kadri more. So if you're having to sacrifice a guy like a Beauvillier or a guy like Pajot, it's not really worth it. But maybe if you get rid of one of your wingers like a Cal Palmieri, might not be a bad idea to get rid of him. I don't know why they. I don't know why they fucking signed him. That was like a stupid. I don't know. Why do they sign him to that type of deal? I don't know. That's Lou for ya.
I have no idea. And yeah, I mean, he's the culture guy, culture in the room. So, I don't know. You got Zach Parise there. If you could get rid of Palmieri, who's going to take that $5 million contract in 2025?
And at 31 years of age, I don't think very many people are going to go after him.
I would say if they are going to do it, the guy that would have to move on would be Jeffrey Alpizzo. Would have to be Pizzo. And then they were talking about Barzal starting to play the wing. I don't like that. Excellent. There's maybe Nelson goes back to the wing. Nelson can play left. And you got Nelson, Barzal, and
Kadri.
Somebody.
If they do bring in Kadri.
Well, I think it would be Barzal and Josh Bailey. Let's face it, this team is not good. The more you look at it, the more you go
oh yeah, dude, look at their defense. They're relying. They're going to be relying big time on Dobson and Romanov going into next year. So it's like I like the Pelch and Pulak, but from there, it's like you got a lot of inexperienced players. Like Dobson's amazing without a doubt, but Romanov, he's been wishy-washy when he was in Montreal. So now relying on him big time is going to be a big question, I think, for the Islanders. And we know, the Islanders are not a good team. The Metro Division's very deep, and I just don't believe that they're going to be able to make it into the playoffs with this type of team right now. With the way that they played last year. They dealt with a lot of injuries, though, last year, too. So it could be a little bit different this year. I guess we'll have to see, but Steven, welcome in, bud. The Predators had a fantastic offseason until we decided to sign the rookie Blackhawks. Backup goaltender from last year. What are we doing? Both Ingram and Devin Cooley are solid goalies. Yeah, you guys picked up Kevin Lankin. I mean, Kevin Lankin showed good stints, but I think you guys were mostly trying to rely on Saros. And maybe Kevin Lankin was brought in to be buddies with Saros because they're both Finn. I'm not too sure if they have any deep connection, but what's your thoughts?
Devin Cooley, I mean, I don't believe he has hardly any experience at all.
And Ingram wasn't fantastic in the NHL either.
He looks like he's going to be a good backup, but I didn't mind the deal. And not only that, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because Lankinen's been working himself up for a while. He's not really a rookie. He played the year before as well.
And the year before, remember how fucking good he started off the season too? And that's the thing. Yeah. He's been playing a lot of games. I don't think Kevin Lankin is built to play a lot of games. And he's had to play 2 years in a row where he's had to play 30 games in, his rookie years, which is a lot of games for a goalie that's just stepping into the NHL.
What did they have? Rittich last year? They had Rittich last year.
I think Kevin Lankinen is definitely an upgrade without a doubt from David Rittich. And give it some time. Chicago's defensive core was horrid the past 2 years, and Kevin Lankinen has had to save them. So don't take a look at Kevin Lankinen's numbers too hard because Kevin Lankinen, I feel, will do pretty good. He's not going to play as many games as what he did in Chicago. And with that lighter load, I think he'll play really, really good.
Not to mention Chicago's defense. I mean, it was just going on. Look at Fleury's numbers when we're playing through Chicago. And I watched Fleury. He still played really, really well. It's just their defense was terrible. And I'm gonna give Nashville also. I'm just gonna say that Nashville the benefit of the doubt because they're so good with goaltenders.
Yeah,
they've done well with goaltenders with everybody they've ever had, except for Rittich, and nobody can figure it. He's a head case. The guy is just, I don't know, he's crazy, that guy.
He is.
So they couldn't rein him in, and nobody else could either. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this, bro. I get what you're saying. I kind of wanted to see what Ingram could do too, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that competition in that spot. Whoever wins it, wins it.
Yeah.
If they put him down, and let's say Ingram comes in and he crushes it, Laxton goes on waivers and they lose him. Okay, whichever. Right? I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think we have some breaking news with a little bit of a small signing. Miles Wood. I don't know if.
Oh, from New Jersey.
Yeah, he signed a $3.2 million contract for a year with the New Jersey Devils, so another signing there for the Devils, as they got no more cap space, and holy shit, they have a lot of free agents going into next year. Bratt, Tatar, Johansson, Wood, Holla, and Sharagovich going into next year, but they got Wood back onto a one-year deal at 3.2 right before arbitration.
Now, Fitzgerald is probably one of my top 5 favorite general managers in the league right now. He's just done some amazing stuff. He leaves himself open.
I mean,
to be able to add
but for the plot deal, that was a bit of a fucking stinker of a deal.
You think so?
I like, dude, I like the plot,
million?
but the term is what kills it.
What's it, 6 years?
It's at 5 years, so that brings him up until he's like 36. And it's a full blown no movement clause. The last year he submits a 10-team trade list.
We'll see how it pans out. I don't know.
He's a good two-way, great playoff guy,
Yeah.
but the problem is it's just a long-term deal, and these types of players like Palat, when they get these types of deals near the tail end, they kind of dip down. So it's a little, the pay is good. I like the $6 million because that's where probably Palat was going to get paid, this free agency, but the term. But I think that's probably because there was a lot of teams after him, and they were like, yeah, Palat, we'll give you the term. And that's what probably made him over. But I really like the Jesper Bratt move. But the problem is you're going to have to pay him big bucks next year if he's going to pop off again going into next year.
Well, see what they did there, and I like the way. This is what I like Fitzgerald. What I like about Fitzgerald is he leaves himself open for options because they have a lot of young. Alexander Holtz should be ready here soon.
Yeah.
Right. What if Alexander Holtz comes out and he's just flying?
Yeah.
And now you're like, okay, yeah, Bratt is good for sure, but if Holtz looks like he's going to be as good, you can use Jesper Bratt as a pond to fill a hole and let Holtz take off with it. It's possible. And possibly why they brought in Andre Palat, because he can play both sides.
Yeah.
So he's left himself a whole crap load of options here, and that's what I love about him.
Well,
he does that on purpose.
You know they're going to keep Sharagovich. They know that you're going to keep Mercer up in that top 6, and Mercer's going to be a really good top 6 guy. So once Holtz jumps in, where does Bratt go, right? Like, where are you going to play Bratt? Are you going to replace him with Sharagovich or Mercer? Because Bratt's going to be asking for big-time bucks going into next year, unless you figure out some cap. And, I mean, you definitely can. You could definitely clear up some space in the defensive core going into next year, especially with Jonas Singlethyler taking a little bit more of a pay raise, and then Graves and Severson coming off the book. So, yeah, without a doubt, there's so much flexibility with the Devils. That's the crazy thing going into next year, because they really won't have to worry about cap. Like, yeah, they might be really tied up against the books right now, but they're having Bratt coming off, Tatar, Johnson, Wood, Holla, Sharagovich, Severson, Graves. All those guys are coming off the books, and you're going to have tons of cap going into next year to kind of play around and see what your young guys are going to do this year as well.
Yeah, you can sign them, you can not sign them, you can trade them at the deadline. I mean, there's so many. I love what he does with that. What did he say about kind of like
if there's a plan to rely on high-end talent like Saros to bail them out every game, and mission accomplished. Also, yeah, I'm happy with got rid of David Riddick. I mean, the thing is, the defensive core there in Nashville is going to be really, really solid there in Nashville. You take a look, even if they do play a guy like Kevin Lankin compared to what they had in Chicago, that defensive core is really deep. You got Yossi, Carrier, Ekholm, you got McDonough now added onto the core. Dante Fabro, you've got a really solid defensive core that honestly will make Kevin Lankinen look really, really good.
Yes, I totally agree with you. But Steven, also, I'm concerned about the amount of games that Saros played last year. He really looked like he petered out in the playoffs. So I get you there. For sure. And maybe that's it. Maybe they think Lankin is at this stage of his career can play a few more games in England, or even more than that. Between the two of them, they can play more games. So Saros doesn't have to play as many games.
Dude,
and they didn't break the bank.
Lauren also brings up a great point. Yeah, man. If the Devils could redraft, they would be all over Makar. They would be all over Makar right now.
For sure.
Like,
just so happens I had Makar #1 in that draft.
Oh, dude, he is #1 in that draft. Like
in that draft during that draft year, I had Makar #1.
It's so funny how like people continue to argue. I think honestly, in my opinion, of the top 3 players in the NHL right now, it's McDavid, Makar, and Matthews. That's how I would go. Yeah. I think Makar is #2.
1, 2, 3.
I think Makar is #2 because I know people keep saying Matthews, #3. I do love Matthews. I'm not dissing on him, but Makar, man, that guy is fucking incredible, man. I'm sorry, you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals in just a few years in your career. Well, Matthews has had a great team as well, and Makar was able to do it with the Colorado Avalanche, who also have a great team. But Makar was the piece of that defense core. Look how bad that defense core was. They had fucking Jack Johnson playing in that top 4 in the Stanley Cup Finals. And they had an amazing pairing between Taves and Makar. And Makar stopped McDavid, basically, halted him, made sure he didn't do anything every time they played against each other. I think Makar, without a doubt, is like the second best player in the league right now.
I agree. I mean, Makar does things that we haven't seen a defenseman do for a long time.
He plays so good offensively and defensively, and that's just
that's the thing. People compare him to Paul Coffey. We talked about it last time. I'm like, no, dude, Paul Coffey was nothing compared.
This is like almost like a Scott Niedermayer, but smaller. It's kind of like a Scott Niedermayer, but better.
Yeah, and more offense.
Yeah. Way more offense.
He's better than Niedermayer.
Way better than Niedermayer.
He's up there with Lidstrom. He's up there with
exactly.
Lidstrom.
Exactly.
Already
up there, but like better than Lidstrom, honestly. Like this might be the best defenseman we have ever seen. Quite honestly.
Since Bobby
and I'm excited to see what else he'll do, but this is the best defenseman in the league right now.
No doubt. But I
like Jacob Slavin, but I mean, let's not get piping up Slavins.
Hey, let's not
go too crazy.
No Makar. He's no Makar. I love Jacob Slavin too. He's like the Rod Langway of our generation. Like that's going back a bit, but he's like the Rod Langway of our generation. Freaking beautiful. I hope he gets it. I hope he gets at least one Norris before he goes. But that might not be possible with Makar.
No, my God, dude. I know, it's incredible. I know whenever someone makes a list where like Makar is #2, everyone just like, what the hell is this list? This is horrible. And I'm like, no, like this is facts. Like Makar is #2. I mean, as a former defenseman, I could say that what separates Makar from every other defenseman in the league is that he's got some solid stick handling and an offensive upside. Not just that, his skating. Remember this fucking time he daggled Kirby Dach and how beautiful that skating was? The thing is that separates him is his skating. His skating simply is so fucking amazing because he can skate as fast as McDavid is moving forward as he moves backwards. And he's so just flawlessly good with his stick. It's like he's fucking like playing with a feather with his stick. It's like so effortlessly he's able to just get to the puck real quick and poke it off the player's stick. It is crazy how good Cale Makar is. I would idolize Cale Makar if I was younger. Like, this is the type of guy that you look up and want to be as a defenseman. Exactly.
Yeah, I would say, okay, one guy that I would put close to him maybe is both of them actually. Yeah, I already said it. Lidstrom and Pronger. Pronger for different reasons.
Pronger was amazing.
But he's up there with those guys already. Yeah. And he's only 20-something years old, man. Like, it's one thing we're saying that now. What's he going to be when he's 26, 27 years old?
Fuck.
He could be the best of all time.
Dude, that's what I'm thinking. Dude, how many Nords? I think he could almost rack in almost double digits, especially if he continues to do what he was doing this year. God. And I was actually
Yeah,
quite surprised
yeah.
that they even chose Cal McCarr with Norris, especially with how well Roman Yossi did offensively this year, because usually they choose the, offensive guys for the Norris Trophy. So I was really happy to see that they chose Cal McCarr.
I love Josie too. I mean, it's just unfortunate for him. He has to be in a time with Makar because he would
Yeah.
win
Yeah,
lots of
Owen
them.
Power did look not
Uh,
too bad. I liked him when he was playing for the World Championships there, and I think Owen Power is just going to be a really good defenseman for the Buffalo Sabres. He's looking really good. I can only type so
he
many
looked good.
characters in the
He looked
chat.
good.
Also, let's be honest, the Blackhawks deserve nothing but warm pillows after the scandal that came up last year. Yeah, I mean the Chicago Blackhawks are having to deal with it now. They're having to go into like a full blown rebuild and rebuild the culture there. So they're going to be in a long rebuild for probably a good bit because they just traded away like every single one of their young players. So they're basically starting off from scratch.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point there. And a lot of people have wondered why would you do this? You build around those guys, but they need to erase the dirt out of, like, they need to bring fresh people that weren't there for all of that. Like, that was a horrible
Yeah.
situation that happened in Chicago. And I think that's part of it. I think it's also part of it is doing this really, they can maybe get some assets for Taves and Kane now because they'll actually want to get
Yeah.
traded. And yeah, so they're trying to wash everything there. That was a really good point about changing the culture for sure. It's a really sad place to go to the rink right now.
Oh, it really is. Like no one really wants to be there. I mean, that's the thing. You kind of had to do this too, because I mean, you can't just continue to be mediocre like how the Chicago Blackhawks have been over the past few years. You can't continue to do that. You can't continue to be mediocre. So actually doing this rebuild where they're picking up players for $3 million that they could flip for picks at the deadline, not a bad idea. I quite like what the Chicago Blackhawks are doing, and they need to do what they need to do to fix up the culture and make things a lot better there because it was a trash fire what they got into. So hopefully they can rebuild the culture there a
It
little
was a
bit better.
dumpster fire
The
out there.
it was a big time dumpster fire.
And also is probably, I wouldn't doubt that DeBrincat and Doc both kind of went, said, yeah, I think this was not a good start to my career. I think I'd like to move on myself. So I think it was for everybody, really, for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's going to be, they get Bedard and all of a sudden the light turns on and everything changes.
I think
Right?
that's what they're honestly tanking for. That like that's the four teams: Montreal, Arizona, Chicago, and I think there's one other team that might be tanking for him. But there's a lot of teams going after Bedard, and I mean, I would if I was fucking a team that didn't have like anything for assets, I'd be tanking hard for Bedard without a doubt. So let's get on to another free RFA move that Mario Friaro signed a 4-year deal at $3.25 million. His analytics don't look
Oh,
amazing, but that's because he's playing so much ice time to the point where it's like, why? They're playing him like top 2 minutes, and he's not playing very well in those top 2 minutes. Probably would do a lot better with lower minutes. You can probably see his numbers grow a little bit, but not a terrible signing for a guy that's been okay with Carlson, but definitely a little bit of an overpayment if you look at like the numbers, especially with his minutes.
yeah, I think that's just a case of he has built a culture there. Like he's been like he's one of the positive aspects of that franchise right
Mm-hmm.
now. And, and everybody loves him and all that kind of stuff like that. What was it? It was 3.2, did you say?
Yeah,
For how many
3.25
years?
for 4 years.
I don't think that's
No,
terrible. He's about there. Like you said, if he didn't play so
that's what
much,
it probably would
his
be.
numbers would probably look a lot better. Like he is about a 5.6, or maybe can play your 3.4, sparingly and stuff like that. He's not bad. But so I just think I don't think it's a horrible move because it's not like they're going to get another defenseman anywhere else. I think it's a tradable contract, so it's not bad. I don't
No,
mind it.
I don't mind it either. I think it's a pretty good deal, especially if he were to get less minutes. It'd probably look a lot more appetizing than what it's looking right now. And I think that that's about it for all the other free agent moves. Shillington, we already talked about that. Did we?
I, if you want to talk about
Yeah,
Bertuzzi,
yeah. Let's talk about Pertuzzi.
because that is a weird situation going on in Detroit. But before that, I think when the NHL comes back to Milwaukee, I hope the Wild blow them out of the water. Okay, Van Hook is in the house, but Bertuzzi, what do you do with
Yo,
this
Van
guy?
Hook.
He's got a he's got a contract coming
Yeah.
up. He can't play in Canada still.
Yeah.
Uh, so like, let's say they play a Canadian team in the playoffs.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you could only play him at the home, so that means it'd be basically like such a disadvantage.
Right. So how do you sign this guy? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, and everybody, all the rest of the league knows that. I mean, I like the player, but he's really shooting himself in the foot here, I guess. I mean, I don't want to speak to somebody's choices. He's got his claws in this choice.
Yeah.
Seriously, he is probably going to cost himself millions in this deal, because if I'm Stevie Y, I'm like, dude, I can't give you a point a game player money here. I just can't. You're going to miss 10% of your games in the regular season. If we get in the playoffs, we're not going to be able to use you. So we have to have another player that can play with you, which is going to cost us against the cap there. Like, what a crazy situation.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, if he doesn't, it's all up to your choice and stuff like that. But that could cost them a few $1,000,000, and it might not want. Maybe the Red Wings might not want to go after a guy like Bertuzzi, because you do have a good chance of going up against a Canadian team, especially when you got Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa all in your division. You have a very high likely chance of facing one of those three teams in the playoffs. So it's a big chance that you might have to deal with something like that. So where you face them in the playoffs and Bertuzzi can't play, half of the games. I could see them still re-signing a guy like Tyler Bertuzzi, but I don't know. Like, I could see them going after like a big player going into next free agency too. Like, who's available coming up into the 2023? We already know like Jonathan Huberdeau.
It's actually not that strong. Yeah, O'Reilly, Huberdeau, if they happen to make it to that final.
Tarasenko, Van Riemsdyk, Pacioretty, you got Pasternak. Will he sign back with Boston?
Pasternak. Yeah, there's a lot
Timu
of
Meyer, like you got some big guys. You do. It's just like
if Pasternak goes there, I'm sure that
Pasternak and fucking Detroit, dude. Dude, I actually, funny enough, I did that in my Detroit Red Wings franchise mode, like way back. I got David Pasternak on my team as well. Don't remember how I did it, but I'm pretty sure I signed him in free agency, and that'd be really cool if he got signed up in Detroit, because I think that'd be amazing. Pasternak and Larkin. Oh, god damn, that'd be dope.
And Raymond, Pasternak, Larkin, and Raymond.
Oh fuck, dude, that is nasty. Dude. That is straight just nastiness, Pearlo.
That would be insane, and I'm sure, I mean, I'm sure that I don't know. I'm sure Stevie Y would be in there. I don't know what Pasternak's plans are. I have heard that. I heard some serious rumblings that he wasn't happy with some of the things that Boston was doing, and I don't. That he it didn't sound like.
Well, imagine, man, like right now, like they're relying on everything. And I was talking with John about this, which I'm going to be uploading the video here very soon for the reviewing Boston Bruins offseason. That should be going up Saturday, and Off the Wall Hockey joined me in the video. And he was talking about how it's stupid that Sweeney's just relying everything on Bergeron coming back. A 37-year-old player, and they're relying everything on Bergeron coming back for the team. And you got to be thinking of David Pasternak's mind. He's like, man, this team is like a center or two away from being a contender again, but we have this moron who continues to waste his money on defensemen continuously, on Forbert and, 50 billion other defensemen back there. And now you don't have any centers. And the guy just wasted, an asset on picking up Pavel Zacha, who they might have to pay for more fucking money. Like, does David Pasternak really want to come back next year? That is definitely the big question. And I could see him totally leaving. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I could, I suppose. They were saying that he wasn't happy how they treated Krejci, which I don't understand. How did they? Krejci was paying well, and I didn't really get that too much. Now it might have been the fact that it seemed like there's a lot of people that weren't happy with the coach there, and now they have a new coach. So Cassidy, I don't know why that would be the case, and I haven't heard anything about it, and it was a rumor, so it might not even be true.
Mm-hmm.
But I know one thing. If I got Pasternak, he ain't going nowhere unless he wants to go. There's no way. I am keeping Pasternak for sure, paying him whatever you want. That guy is just insane. Yeah. So I don't know what they're doing. The makeup of their team. I mean, if he has a smart agent that knows hockey really well, because players don't see it from that perspective quite often.
Yeah.
Right? This team probably isn't going anywhere for a while.
No. This is probably the last year for the Boston Bruins, so like it just makes sense for Pasternak to move on. And I also don't see the Quebec Nordiques coming back there, guys. I don't see it for a long time. The Nordiques coming back, especially with all the Canadian teams you already have. They're more like we've talked about it between me and you before, that they're trying to really grow the demographic there in America and keeping Arizona and having that team thrive. I know they're playing in a shit rink this year. I know Arizona's been kind of bullied in that city a little bit, and just give it some time. Once they actually develop and they're doing like, once this team plays really good, I think you could see a really cool crowd in Arizona. I remember when Phoenix was making their runs during the playoffs and how cool the crowds were for that team when they actually were competitive and looking really good. Give it some time. Once, they got a lot of their younger prospects starting to thrive there in Arizona, the team could look really, really good. And, Marcus, how's it going, bro?
I just think that having those markets like Arizona, Vegas is obviously going fine for now, but if you listen to the fan base there now, it's starting to get rocky. But I just think you got to win in that fan base too. If you're going to compete in that demographic, if you're going to compete with the NFLs and stuff, you got to win that. And you have an owner there that seems like he's committed to doing so, and they're going to get an arena and all of that. As far as Quebec, we're at the stage in the NHL right now where we've just made a huge jump where we got a big American TV deal.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that we need another team in Canada? Like, are we getting anything more
also,
fans?
Why
getting a team in Quebec right now?
Why does everyone fucking care what arena the Arizona Coyotes play in right now? Their team is trash, so why the fuck do people care what arena they play in? I know it's small. I know it's not going to make as much revenue, but they already sold out, I'm pretty sure, from what I was hearing, on a lot of their tickets. And not just that, like, they're a rebuilding team, so it doesn't really matter that they're playing in a college arena, because once they become good, they're going to be in that bigger arena, that actual NHL arena, once it gets built.
Not to mention, it's going to be such a cool story when they become a success. Right?
Yeah, right.
You're going to have that. You're going to have that lore of how you made it through, and not only that, it's weird. And actually, Gary Bettman brought this up, and I actually agree with him. By the way, a lot of people don't like Bettman. I'm not one of those people. I think Bettman is, and I'm not a guy that likes authority figures too much, but I do like Gary Bettman. He brought up a really good point that of those fans in that college and stuff like that, like, they're trying to build a fan base. This might be one of the best ways to do it. It's going to feel like a home. It's going to feel...
Oh, you're going to have all the drunk college kids going there all the time, fucking partying, drinking, having a good time, watching a hockey game.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting young people into hockey that probably didn't even care about it before.
Yeah.
Before you had to drive however long. The only people you're getting are people that are already hockey fans.
And I know some Arizona fans, and they really don't care what arena they're going to play in. They're happy that they have an arena and still their team there.
Happy they have a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know people are going to get angry about this certain crap, but honestly, it doesn't really matter because it's a glorified college arena. It's not even up to NHL standards when it comes to seat capacity. They'll be able to sell their games out now, but 5,000 seats, what is the NHL doing? Dude, it's one fucking team, and they already signed a huge deal TV-wise with ESPN and TNT. And also they have a profit sharing thing as well. And it's not like Arizona Coyotes are going to be there for the rest of their fucking, their tenure. They're only going to be there for a few years. It's not that big of a deal. They got some time.
There's another aspect to this too. Gary Bettman isn't the guy that stands on the mountain and tells the owners what to do. It's the other way around. The owners are the ones that, if they wanted Arizona out of there because they thought it was going to hurt their pocketbook, Arizona would be out of there.
Yep.
The owners are the ones that are like, you know what, we need that market. Do whatever we can. Let's get that market. Because if you got to look at it this way, from a hockey perspective, if you can get popular in a desert, you can win anywhere, right? Like you can get. That's a fan base that you'll never get back again. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
If they leave Arizona, that's a fan base they will never get back again. Some of them may watch Vegas, but you're never going to grow that fan base if you don't have a NHL team there in Arizona.
Yeah.
And that is a fan base that you'll never get back again. And you need all of those to compete. If you ever want to compete with football and baseball, you're going to need that market.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Without a doubt. Only a bunch of people will go to the games. Yeah, but I mean, we'll have to see how it'll work out. I think this is, it's a pointless argument when there's not going to be a lot of people that watch the team in general. It's not like we're selling big tickets in general anyways. Like what was the Arizona, Coyotes tickets selling last year? Ticket sales 2021, 22. I'm actually interested.
How much did it cost to go see a ticket in Arizona?
Well, just on average for throughout their last year.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the cost for these tickets will be.
I think they already were released, but I'm wondering how much they sold last year. Ticket sales last year. And they'll show me. If they will show me, I think you could check through Hockey Reference, I think. Let me take a look. Yeah, there we go. I have it all here.
Well,
yeah, 15,000 one game, 9,000. Yeah, so they're going to definitely lose a good capacity, but sometimes they weren't even filling, like 7,000 one game against Columbus, 12,000 against Detroit. Like, it's not like they were filling up the arenas fully anyways throughout the year. So, I don't see it as too big of a deal.
No,
the next 3 years,
like
knowing how bad their organization / front office is, the Tempe arena proposal won't fall through until the NHL steps in and keeps their money, losing more money. That's up to the NHL, man. And yeah, it's only the next 3 years. It's up to the NHL. And honestly, like the way that the new arena proposal looks, it looks pretty cool. Like the new arena that they're thinking about building could be potentially stellar for the Arizona Coyotes. So give it some time. I honestly, for me, it's just like, who cares? It's the Arizona Coyotes. It's not our business. We're not the ones losing money. We're not the ones looking at the fucking, the budget that the NHL has. We don't even know. We don't know if the NHL's actually losing money by this.
And the other side of it is possibly, let's just take the other side, because Steven's bringing up some really good points here, and everybody else is as well. But it's possible that they do know that the arena's not going to go through, and they're just buying time for an American city to have everything.
Maybe that way too.
Check and everything, because I really don't think it's going to Quebec. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think in Milwaukee, Houston, something like that, to at least go into another fan base. Although Houston already has it from Dallas, but from what I understand in Dallas is, like, they could easily sell out another arena in Texas.
Oh, Houston, huge rumors about Houston being the next team to probably get a team here very soon, or the next, city to get a team. And if anything, like, Arizona could move over to Houston if we're hypothetically talking about the team moving on a little bit later on and the deal does fall through, because there's not a whole lot of, like, there's only talks about, like, the college arena that they got into, not like the proposal for the new arena. Not very much talks on that from what I've seen from a quick little Google search. So if they do move off to Houston, and they're just buying some time at this college arena. Like, I could see Houston. I think there was Milwaukee also in the talks as well, and a few other places, but I think Houston probably is the next destination.
Yeah, I would like to see Milwaukee, but I think Milwaukee's pretty close to St. Louis there, right? So
Nashville, I'm pretty sure.
that,
It's not too far away from Nashville.
yeah, so I think they're kind of in between there. So it might be difficult on on the fan bases and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, but I just I just hope Arizona makes it. I really do. I'd like to see it thrive. Like LA. LA was, look at LA. Like how many times they were almost
my
out
God.
of the league. Several times. And, I'd like to see, 20 years from now, you look back and see an Arizona team that is thriving and doing very well, and that fan base is building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think we'll try to get into one more topic before we head off. Anything else you want to talk about as well? Do you got any other rumors that you have seen over the past little bit? Anything interesting? Oh, hang on. Kevin Weeks just tweeted something. Keep an eye on hearing something might be brewing with a Western Conference team. Ooh.
Well, we were just talking about it, Calgary.
And fucking Leslie just posted the kind of the same thing, but with just the eyes emoji. So we might be seeing fucking something from Calgary. I definitely don't think it's an Edmonton thing. Maybe I swear to God, if we pick up Patrick Kane, Pearlo, I'm gonna kill myself, dude. That would be the worst deal ever to pick up Patty Kane.
Oh.
I know some Oilers fans keep asking me like, "Oh, what's your thoughts on us picking up Patrick Kane?" or like just crazy trade proposals for him, and I'm like, no, we don't want him. I don't understand.
It's really
this.
hard to talk about Patrick Kane with people from the United States because he's such an
iconic player, but he's not the same anymore, and that's the thing that people need to fucking realize that. A guy, once he gets a little older, he starts fucking declining. But, they always just remember him being that idolized player, that fucking amazing player. That was the same way with Duncan Keith when he got picked up here in Edmonton. And people just ignore that, he's piss poor 5-on-5 wise, and that all he does is power play.
Yeah, his 5-on-5 point production isn't bad though, is it?
It's not terrible, but he's not like he just gets dished the puck and then he scores, or dished the puck off to somebody else.
5-on-5 is defensively 5-on-5. He may be the worst in the league in any top six player. Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the bad thing. And do we need somebody like that?
We need defense. We don't need a liability defensively. And yeah, he's going to be a guy that, without a doubt, will score you a point per game, especially if he plays alongside of like Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid. But he's not going to do anything for you defensively. So what's the point?
We'll beat the crap out of everybody on the power play. But
yeah, but when you have to play defense, like, he's not going to do anything good for you. Yeah, Carolina has done a lot of good things there. In Carolina, I really like Carolina coming up towards this upcoming season as well. I'm really excited to talk about them during my reviewing series as well. They're going to be a fun team to kind of go over and talk about their off season.
I mean, it's nothing bad about it. Yeah, for sure. Pacioretty, I mean, get a leader like that
for free.
For free.
And he actually, did you see Pacioretty talk about how like dysfunctional Vegas locker room was, and how he said that like no one took accountability and stuff like that. He was on a podcast. I think he was talking about that in Montreal as well, and how Carey Price was like he thought Carey Price of a god and stuff like that. Pacioretty looks very well spoken. It's actually kind of crazy from all the rumors we heard about him being kind of a troublemaker, and looking on the podcast, he looked really good in the podcast.
That might have been the thing about him, is he did talk shit about his teammates and stuff like that. But maybe he had a point. I don't know. Maybe he does have a point. I mean, when you bring that lot, and people didn't have accountability in the locker room. Well, I mean, I guess that's the reason why they got Cassidy, right?
Yeah. to whip him around.
Because Cassidy, I mean, you can say whatever you want about the Boston Bruins,
but
when the chips were down, they were still crushing it.
Yeah.
They still found ways to win. They didn't give up on anyone. So, Vegas is going to be the most interesting team next year. I think I am fascinated to see how that team looks with Cassidy there, Eichel with a full year now that he's
Healthy.
gone without healthy. Where is he talking about? If you tell me Stone doesn't have accountability, I find that hard to believe. Or maybe Stone agrees with Patrick. Maybe those are the two guys that did and everybody else didn't.
Mm-hmm. It seemed like there was a lot of problems with Vegas Golden Knights last year, and I think Bruce will definitely help out because we all know DeBoer's definitely not the most amazing coach. We've seen what happened with San Jose when times got tough in San Jose; they crippled hard, and I think that was the same with Vegas Golden Knights. That's why I'm actually really excited to see what Bruce Cassidy will feel. Max was feeling like they needed a coach that would take the bull by the horns and hold them responsible. Yeah, see the DeBoer, he never holds anybody accountable. DeBoer is a very just laid back coach, just lets things kind of go, and that's what happened in San Jose, and that's the same thing would happen in Vegas. He's not that type of coach that's going to change things around. And I think that's why he was not the most amazing coach for the Dallas Stars to choose either. I thought they should have went after somebody else.
Well, after having Bonus there, who's the exact opposite of that, he's a mechanical coach where you got to turn this way in this spot all the times like that, and you just do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. He kind of takes the fun out of the game, right? Now you got DeBoer's like the polar opposite. I don't know. That seems like the pendulum swinging a little too far the other way, and maybe we'll find out that it is. But it's sort of a weird thing there. But Cassidy coaching, I mean, I've heard a lot of things about Eichel. Does Eichel bring accountability? Who wasn't being accountable?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd like to know. What does he mean by that?
That's the thing.
Peter Angelo was probably brought in to do that. What would he say about the situation? So
I think it's maybe the coach.
Maybe
it was the coach is not giving crap to players making bad decisions or something like that. That Pat's already seen or something. Who knows? Because I think what kind of Lauren was saying is that it looks like he was mostly blaming the coach for not taking accountability for things that were happening. So maybe he wasn't blaming his teammates. More of like Peter DeBoer should have been doing more of his job and maybe talking with some players that made some mistakes or whatever it may be. I welcome in Fan Rocks. I hope we don't trade either RV or Yamamoto. I hope it's like Fogle, because I think once you trade away Fogle, you're good on cap. You just sign some, dirt cheap players. But yeah, I think Fogle is the one that we need to trade away before anybody else.
I think that's exactly what they're gonna do.
So yeah, I think that's exactly what they need to do. Trade away Fogle. They're not going to trade away Barry, and then you just sign players to $750K, and then you fill out the rest of the roster like that. I think that's the way you got to do it.
I guess one way you could look at it, Donov kept on getting ice time over and over and over again, so he might have a point there because that guy was.
Oh, he's a fucking shit show, and he was getting so much ice time. Remember him playing up in the top 6 some games? Like, there were some games where I seen more Dadonov than anybody else.
Yeah, and then finally, he got traded but didn't get traded.
Yeah.
And then he came back and he started playing actually not too bad after that. So, yeah, maybe that's a kick in the ass that he needed. So you can make a really good case that DeBoer wasn't kicking people in the ass then, right? So maybe Pacioretty does have there's something there. And he's the one that said, I think Pacioretty was, no, that was Burns. Burns was the one in San Jose that said he was ready to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Pacioretty, if it took him by surprise or whatever. But when he left Montreal, he bad talked Montreal too.
Yeah. I want Bobby Ryan because he needs to get help. I don't know if we like Bobby Ryan is just he's not in the shape to return to hockey. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna. He fell off the wagon a little bit there in Nashville. I think it was Nashville, right? He got arrested in. Was drunk at the airport. Yeah, he went on a bit of a bender, and honestly, I respect the guy. He owned up right to it, right on the internet on Twitter. He's owned up to it and. He's trying to fix the mistakes, which is something you got to notice like right off the get-go is noticing your mistakes and stuff like that. And you even know more than me on that, Pearlo.
Yeah, you know what I liked about what he said there in the public? He said, I'm I'm embarrassed, but I shouldn't be, and I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to work on myself. And thanks for everybody who supports me. And that's a very important thing for a guy who's had his problem. Is there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You know, you struggled and you fell a little bit. You get back up and go, just like anything you do in life.
Yeah.
Right. You just.
And Bobby Ryan's
You
not
get
the
back
only
up
guy
and
that
go.
struggled, you know, like there's so many numerous NHLers that have struggled from stepping away.
Never came out.
Yeah, like
You didn't even
some
know.
players have just disappeared. Some of them have, suicide, and there's so much that is just very sad. Like even basketball players, even in any sport, there's a lot of guys that become big, and then they end up homeless or end up with a drinking problem or whatever it may be. So I hope Bobby Ryan's doing all right, and he'll go back on that journey of self-improvement and get away from the booze.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure he will.
Sure he'll kick ass. I had somebody. I remember one time a guy on Twitter, and I don't usually talk back to people, but he said, "Oh, you know what? The guy was a bum. What has he done? Blah 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 blah." I'm like, dude, the guy was a 60, 70 point, like over 30 goal scorer.
Yeah.
And he was an alcoholic the whole time. I say he crushed it pretty good. I'll tell you
Dude,
what.
Bobby Ryan as a
I wouldn't even know
prospect was amazing, and yeah, he definitely probably did kill his game because he was an alcoholic. He was a pretty bad alcoholic, and we never really knew
I'd say-
until like now.
No.
Like nowadays, we know
Yeah.
that he's a pretty bad alcoholic from what we've seen with the airport
Yeah.
incident. I brought how Max was worried about being
How
traded.
do you get as many points as he did throughout his career? Like, it's incredible. It's incredible. He's amazing. He's amazing. To go to the club that has lost former players.
Oh, he's talking about Max Domi. Max was worried about being traded to a bottom dweller when he found out he was going to Carolina. He got super excited. Things about retiring in Carolina. Max Pacioretty. Oh, okay. Brought out how important it is to go to a club that has a lot of former players live in the arena they retired at. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like the Carolina Hurricanes is, I think, a perfect team for the Max Pacioretty. I think he'll fit in perfectly there. Like me, I'm very excited about the Carolina Hurricanes, quite honestly. Like, if you're a fan of the Hurricanes, like it's a perfect time to be alive for that. Like, they have so many great players. You got a great top six, especially with Seth Jarvis. Like, Jarvis will take another step up going into next year. Imagine in that top line of Pacioretty, Aho, and Jarvis. Like, that's amazing. You got Svechnikov, Konkinen, Teravainen. You got a great depth with Martinuk, Stahl, and Foss, Kasha, Jack Jury, and Martin Natchez once he's signed. Like, that's a pretty deep offensive core.
Huge. Deep.
Right?
Yeah,
and then you still got that great defensive core with Slavin Burns, Shea, Pesci, Barrett, Coughlin. Like, you got a really good defense core in the back end. I'm excited to see what the Carolina Hurricanes will be.
Just gotta hope that goaltending holds up still.
Yo, Brian, how's it going, bro?
Gotta hope that is there any ex players that he used to play with? He didn't play with Kotkaniemi.
Pacioretty? No.
Pacioretty, yeah. In Montreal, I was thinking.
No, he didn't play with any of these guys.
No, so I don't know. Like you said, this is going to be a contender for a long time. So hopefully he resigns.
Fan Rocks, you just said Huberdeau got a contract? What do you mean? What?
Really?
What?
Well, there. I guess I'll take my take my thing down.
No way. Actually, yeah. Fucking long-term deal.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll take my video down now that I worked so hard on.
Wow. Shit. Yeah. So yeah, Huberdeau here in Calgary, and Jonathan Huberdeau closing in a long-term deal, 8 years at 10.5.
Just what we said.
Holy shit.
10.5. 10.
Well, fuck, are we, dude, holy shit, man, my whole, like, interview with Calvin's is gonna be, like, completely ruined now. Like, I'm still gonna use it, but, my God, like, so 8 years at 10.5, so, I mean, let's talk about it before we end off the stream, because we'll end it off with that. Wow.
That's a scary contract. I love Huberdeau, but man, oh man.
At 29, 8 years.
He's going to be 37
37, 38.
10.5 million. And this is a guy who isn't really the greatest skater in the world. He's not going to get faster from here on in. But I mean, he's not terrible, but he's not great.
Great offensive abilities,
he-
but his defensive abilities is
Oh.
ass. Like I mean, the thing is, can he continue to produce the same as what he was producing on a very stacked Florida team? Now he'll be on a team where he's the main guy. It's not Barakov who's the main guy. And now, I don't know, man. That's a scary fucking contract. I don't know if it's gonna pass. Like, I'd like it. Huberdeau is around that price point, but that amount of years, it's just like it feels like a panic move.
Yeah, well, no, it is. It's like, well, and almost understandably so, because if they don't sign him, they're going into a deep rebuild, like right now. So, I was saying, like, is anybody else going to give him 10.5? That was what my video was all about. And if they don't sign him now before the season starts, they gotta get some assets for him. So they end up giving him the 10.5. Oh, that's, people got upset in Florida that they let him go, but I totally understand not giving him that money for that term.
You save $1 million on a player that Kachuk is going to be, without a doubt. He's younger, and you got him for cheaper, and he's better. Like, that's just.
He's a million times better defensively. A million times better defensively.
Like, I see, Huberdeau, if they're able to build around Huberdeau quite nicely, it's going to be not bad. Like, I think you're definitely going to be seeing a great combo between Huberdeau and Mangiapane. Great combo there. But, oh, no, that's not even just that. Yeah, dude, this contract's going to be going until he's 38 because he still has one more year at his 5.9. So he'll be 30 by time his 8-year deal. So he'll be 38. Fucking hell, man. I would think 5-6 years, but 8 until he's 38.
And now you got to build a team around this guy.
And you don't even have a fucking centerman to build around him. Lindholm is your only guy, and I like Lindholm a lot, but
no, he's not a number one.
I don't know, man. He's not a Barkov. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say that. He is a number one. He's just not a top half, top.
No, he's near the bottom. He's
center.
near the bottom, end of we don't know if there's a no movement. We don't know if there's a no trade clause. We're guessing that there's a full blown no movement.
Full on no movement clause, absolutely for sure. Ironclad, no movement clause here. Wow.
Holy shit. All right, well, that's a good way to end off the stream with this big move. Huberdeau signing to an 8-year, $10.5 million deal. That is just absolutely
I'm just kind of pissed. I did that whole video, man.
Dude, I know. I made an interview with fucking my buddy, Calvin. Yo, Ryan, how's it going, bro? I miss you too, bro. Hope you're having a good day. I was talking with my buddy Calvin, and right when we finished recording the video, I'm like, man, shit's about to blow up for the Flames. We made this video and all this shit's gonna happen, and it did. Everything has happened right after I recorded that little video with him. So it's crazy. The Calgary Flames, and I don't think they're done yet. I don't even think they're done yet. I think there's still tons of stuff that the Flames are gonna be doing. So the Huberdeau move, I think it'll be good at the beginning, but at that tail end, it's gonna be fucking rough.
Okay, remember I said this now. JT Miller still. They still have cap room. Like you said, they need a center. They have all those ex-Vancouver guys over there. Oh, they're already.
Tanev.
Yeah, Tanev.
Well, and you think about it, you trade away one of the defensemen in Shillington. You got, and then maybe, I don't know. Maybe get rid of Backlund or something. I don't know. I guess
they would want a right D, but they don't really have one to give up. They don't have much leverage either.
No, that's the problem. I mean, Shillington could play on the right side. He could play left and right. I don't know.
Okay.
There's
there's
lots.
Shillington, Dubé, first next year, whatever, And
I think that would be.
You might as well if you're gonna sign Huberdeau.
You might as well go all in.
Yeah.
They might as well fucking go all in.
Take Miller. I mean, still the team's not good enough to win a cup, but
No, honestly, Ryan, I don't think the Flames have much of a chance against the Oilers next year. You look at, the Flames' defense out fucking beats our defense, but the depth for their
Yeah.
forward core is just horrendous. When you have like Rooney, Milan Lucic, and Trevor Lewis as your fourth line, that's horrendous. That's bad. That's real fucking bad. Yo, Caden, how's it going,
Their
bro?
offensive depth is bad. And Lucic comes off the books next year, or they might sign him to $1 million, but their depth on forward is not very
No,
good.
it's not.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, we're gonna end off the stream here. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I'll be live early tomorrow. I don't know what time. It'll probably be in the afternoon after I'm done working out at the gym. I'm gonna play some video games on my Twitch channel, so make sure to go check out that. The link is down in the description below. It says Peyton on the radio. I'll probably be playing some Super Mario or something like that. I'll probably be playing some video games with some viewers, so come and tune in. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks, Pearlo, for jumping on. We'll be live on his channel next. I don't know when we'll be doing another live stream, but it'll be sooner or later. Oh, and whether Ontario walk
Yeah,
in.
well, hopefully maybe the weekend.
Yeah, probably like Sunday or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
See you later, everybody.
Thank you guys for tuning in.